What's going on, guys? Bingo here, and I wanted to record a video today talking about the upcoming Forbidden and Limited list from Konami. We all know it's no sooner than April 2nd, and we also know that Konami likes to use these lists to 1. Sell product, 2. Push decks out that have been around the format for too long to make room for new decks, as well as check any deck that they want to keep around but it's kind of got out of hand in the format. So with this list, I wanted to focus on what I feel like they'll actually do this format. I have another video that I want to do talking about things that I wish they would do, as well as, things that they could possibly do that might not be as impactful as this, but I feel like still have some merit. So without further ado, I wanted to jump right into the Forbidden section. My first card being Phantom Skyblaster. So this card it's just an old card that aged very, very well because of Master Rule 4. This plus any danger is basically full combo depending on the rest of your hand, but any card that generates this much advantage we've already seen has gotten addressed, like Scapegoat, Galaxy Tomahawk, Grinder Golem. Those are cards that just generated too much advantage because of the tokens, and they just weren't designed for Master Rule 4. So I think this card has had its time to shine in Master Rule 4, and it's just about time to get it out of our format. The next card is Summon Sorceress. So when this card was revealed, we all knew it was going to be insane. It's Lone Fire Blossom in your extra deck. It can tutor any monster you want out of your deck. Its summoning restrictions, they look restrictive, but when we have a card like Reproducus that makes it extremely easy to access this card, just having an additional resource in your extra deck, it's gotten to be to the point where it's a little bit out of hand, as well as they're probably going to be wanting to release Chris Run Needle Fiber within the next few months, and this card plus Needle Fiber cannot exist in the same format. So I definitely think it's Summon Sorceress' time to go. And it's had its time. It's been around for a long time. And we all know it's a little bit degenerate with Orcus and Thunder, and any deck that can abuse it is. And I think that's the point where a card gets a little bit out of hand and needs to be put into check. The next card I want to talk about is Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. So this card was recently hit on the OCG list, but I've been talking about this card ever since the Guard Dragons were revealed. This card it's an old card that, again, because of the new card pool in Yu-Gi-Oh!, it has aged very well. Even though it's at limited status, it doesn't matter because now we have Guard Dragon LP, and it can summon it straight from the deck to get an additional body to make Saryuja and then make Pitsy and then get it back and get more. It generates too much advantage for one card because of the cards that have come out since its release. So this is one card I think it's had its time, and I just think it needs to get checked before it's out of hand. So I'm not going to talk about that one too much because I think they should hit it. Will they? Probably not, honestly. But the next card, this is Rank Up Magic, Phantom Knight's Rank Up Magic launch, and I don't know why there's an argument whether it should be the Rank Up spell or As a Thought that gets banned. This is the card that enables the degeneracy. As a Thought is not a card that was designed to be summoned on your opponent's turn. It's designed to be summoned on your turn so that you can make a big push or that you can safely resolve the rest of your cards. And this card, it just completely oversees that. So I understand that there are outs to the Rank Up spell because it can only be activated in the main phase. So Twin Twisters, Pankratops, Danko Seka, I understand there are all outs, but just because there are outs to a card doesn't make it a fair card. If As a Thought gets banned, decks are just going to be focused on Kali Yuga Turbo, or after the Orcus Rank 8 comes out, it's just going to be setting up VFD on your turn in a deck that's not supposed to be able to set up VFD. So this card, I just think it needs to get out of our format so we can enjoy a more interactive game without having to worry about, okay, he opened full combo, established As a Thought, Kali Yuga, VFD, and now I can't play and he's going to kill me. So the next card is what's the name of this thing? Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. Oh my god, Galaxy Eyes. This card, it did not age fairly. So it's not once per turn. It's accessible through rank 8s, even though it's a rank 9. And it enables too many degenerate combos. This card being able to mill 3 for cost, basically, it's just not fair. Setting up Goliath as well as generating other advantage from the card send, being able to summon this two times, and I think the Blue Eye strategy. This is a card that just it's not fair when you break it down, and anything that is like that. Plus it's 4,000 body. Like this card just needs to go. And side note, if we ever want to see the Elemental Dragons come back, this card cannot exist. So I think it's had its time, and it just needs to get out of our format. The last card I put on the Forbidden section with the cards I think they are going to address. There's a lot more I want to put here, but I'm going to save that for another video. That's Speedroid Taratata. So I love this card, and I wish it was at 3, because the card is just it's just free, and anything I can get for free in Yu-Gi-Oh! I love to play. So the reason I put this card here is just more foresight than anything, because Cherubini is a heck of a card, and Speedroid Taratata is a 1-card Cherubini. I understand it's a 1-of, and you have to play a quote-unquote brick and Takaton board, but anything that's a 1-card Cherubini without utilizing your normal summon is very powerful. So before it gets out of hand and before it just becomes the Sack King again, I think it's going to be addressed, because Cherubini it's in Dane, I believe, so it's coming out in a few months, so I think it's going to be addressed. That's it for the Forbidden section. Moving on to the Limited section, this was a little bit more difficult, and I don't know if I exactly nailed down the right mindset, but here's my thoughts. This one's a guarantee. Saryuja is going to go to at least 1. I don't think they're going to ban the card, because it's a fair card, with the exception that it's not once per turn. This card requires 4 cards invested to make a extremely powerful effect, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because if it gets Effect Veilered, if it gets Impermanence, if it gets Ash Blossom, like that's a lot of investment for a good payoff, and that's a very well designed card. But resolving 2 of these, 3 of these in a turn, that's when it becomes degenerate, and that's where this card needs to be put into check. So I'm not going to say much more of this, because everybody has talked their piece about it, so I'm just going to leave it at that. The next one is the 3 good dangers, being Nessie, Tsuchinoko, and Jackalope, all to 1. So they'll probably not hit all 3, but if they do, I feel like it has some merit, because these 9 cards, while they're in unlimited status, just offer too much splashability, too much. It's just unfair. Like, I know it seems simple, like it's just a body on board and you get a draw, but when you're doing that 6 times, 7 times in a turn, because you just keep drawing into more dangers, that's when it becomes degenerate. So if all 3 of these are at 1, any deck that wants to abuse dangers has to play less impactful danger monsters like Mothman and Bigfoot. Like they're okay, but their discard effect just isn't as powerful. So I think that's one way they can address checking the dangers. And the last card I put to limited status is Thunder Dragon Colossus. The reason I picked this is because the Thunder Dragon engine does need to be addressed, but there is no good way to hit the main deck monsters, because for the most part, besides OG Thunder Dragon, none are played at 3. Like Dark is mostly played at 2, but Hawk and Roar, they're 1-ofs in the Danger Thunder deck. Like Pure Thunder Dragon, yeah, they play multiple, but Pure Thunder Dragon is a fair deck. Danger Thunder Dragon abusing more than 1 Colossus on top of ripping 2 cards out of your hand and setting up 2 negates, whatever they do, that is when the deck becomes unfair. But you can't touch the main deck monsters and address that problem. So I think the best solution is just put Thunder Dragon Colossus to 1. So moving on to the semi-limited list. Sky Striker is in a weird place because the deck will not die because they have announced reprints. Konami uses these lists to sell product, and I understand that. Prior to the reprints, I thought Sky Striker was just going to get murdered, but I had to rethink my thought process, and what I ended up going with is just semi-limiting Engage and semi-limiting Widow Anchor to hit consistency a little bit as well as hit power. I know a lot of people are talking about banning multi-roll, limiting Kagari, and I don't think that's what they want to do because they want the deck to be a meta contender still, despite it being around for about a year at this point. If you ban multi-roll, the deck is just, it's unplayable. Like, I know people think that it's still a fair control deck, but multi-roll is the one card that keeps the deck in contention with the other meta decks. Without it, it just doesn't keep up. Being able to reuse your resources is why the deck's unfair. Because on paper, the cards, they're all okay besides Engage. Engage is just insane, but Widow Anchor at 2 is going to make it very difficult to play for an average player. You have to manage your resources effectively because you can't just blindly set Widow Anchor every single turn off multi-roll so you can use 6-7 Widow Anchors in a turn. You know, you have to get them back with Kagari and make sure that you're not overextending. So it's going to punish bad players. So the deck is going to remain fair, but it's not going to be overbearing. And with all these hits being said, they have to address Salamangreat in a little bit. So the way I think they're going to do that is just semi-limiting either Gazelle or Sunlight Wolf. And if they semi-limit Sunlight Wolf, it means they can't be as aggressive with the reincarnated links and being as aggressive with how they're doing their plays. Because yeah, you can do your normal first turn combo, but if you don't send back the Sunlight Wolf, then your follow-up play is going to be very weak. If you only have 2 Gazelle in deck, your opening combo isn't going to be as consistent, and then you're going to have to play Lady Debug. You're going to have to do other things to make sure that you can have the most consistent engine as possible. So Salamangreat's not unfair, and it's not the best deck of the format, but it is a very good deck, and if they check these other decks like I'm talking about, I don't want the deck to be the only viable option or the best viable option. I want all the decks to be on a level playing field, kind of like they are now. So I'm going to end the video there. So that is what I think Konami is going to do with the current cards in the format. I'm going to make another list talking about what I want to come off of the ban list, because there's a lot of stuff on there that just has no business of being on there, as well as some other interesting ideas for Konami that they might hit just because of one reason or another. They're not really relevant to the current meta, but you know, they're just some cards I want to talk about. So guys, with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, if you liked what I talked about, if you have anything you want to say about the topic, leave it in the comment sections down below. I love doing these videos. You know, it's just a hobby right now, and I just enjoy the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I enjoy talking about it. So leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit the subscribe button. Check out my video the day after this one about what I want to come off of the ban list. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out.